On April 1, 2024, Kyriaki Griva, a 28-year-old woman, arrived at the Agioi Anargyroi police station. She was visibly frightened and told the police that her ex-boyfriend, Thanasis Kurailis, had been following her for several days. She specifically asked for a police escort to return home, because she knew her ex-boyfriend was somewhere nearby and feared for her safety. The police should have helped Kyriaki Griva, but instead of providing an escort, they refused and told her to call the 100 emergency number. While she was on the call, explaining her situation, the officer on the other end reportedly told her, "Patrol cars are not taxis." Feeling helpless after this response, Kyriaki stood outside the police station. Moments later, the very thing she feared happened. Her ex-boyfriend, Thanasis Kurailis, attacked her from behind with a sharp knife, stabbing her 5 times in the back. Kyriaki Griva lost her life just outside the police station, a victim not only of violence but also of a system's failure to protect her. Hello everyone. I'm your host, and today we are going to cover the Kyriaki Griva murder case in detail. We will try to understand why women like Kyriaki end up paying the ultimate price because of the mistakes and negligence of the very systems meant to keep them safe. Kyriaki Griva was a 28-year-old woman living in northern Athens, Greece. She was the daughter of Thanasis Grivis and Despina Kalea. She lived an ordinary life in the suburbs of Athens, and though not much is publicly known about her childhood or detailed personal history, what is clear from court proceedings and family testimonies is that she was a kind, caring person who valued her independence and sought to make her own decisions. However, her relationship with Thanasis Kurailis became a constant source of pain and trouble. In the beginning, everything between them seemed good, but over time, according to her father, his personality began to change. Thanasis Kurailis, who had initially appeared promising and treated Kyriaki well, slowly began to control and manipulate her. At times, things escalated so badly that he did not hesitate to physically abuse her. Kyriaki's father also shared how Thanasis gradually isolated her from everyone. He would not allow Kyriaki to meet or speak with anyone freely, and on top of that, he even took control of all her finances, leaving her dependent on him in every way. Kyriaki tried hard to save her relationship, but after seeing no change at all in Thanasis Kurailis, she was forced to decide that she could no longer stay with him. In 2020, Kyriaki Griva and Thanasis Kurailis ended their relationship. After that, Kyriaki accused Thanasis Kurailis of rape and also obtained a restraining order against him. However, later Kyriaki withdrew the case. Under Greek law, it was possible for authorities to pursue the case ex officio, meaning even if she decided not to continue, the police or prosecutors could still investigate. But sadly, they did not do so, and the police failed to act further, even though there was clear evidence that Thanasis posed a serious threat to her safety. After all this, Kyriaki felt that she was finally free and ready to make a new start in her life. But perhaps fate had other plans, because her life was about to become even worse. Thanasis Kurailis began stalking Kyriaki. In court, witnesses and her family described how Thanasis stalked Kyriaki, used devices like a smartwatch to track her movements, and showed obsessive behavior. If she was at home, he would stand outside her house for hours, and when she was out in busy public areas, he would still follow her. This made Kyriaki increasingly fearful for her life. She no longer felt safe anywhere, because Thanasis Kurailis' behavior towards her was becoming more and more obsessive, and he seemed capable of going to any extreme. And then came the day, April 1, 2024. It was the beginning of April in Athens, a day like any other day for most of the people, but for Kyriaki Griva, it was filled with fear. She had been living under the constant shadow of her ex-partner, Thanasis Kurailis, who had been stalking her for weeks, but that day, she stepped out of her home in northern Athens to meet a close friend. They chose a small cafe in the area, a familiar spot, the kind of place where people usually feel safe. As she sat with her friend, she couldn't shake the feeling that Thanasis might be nearby. She had spotted him more than once in recent weeks, standing outside her home for hours, following her through busy streets. Whether she saw him that day before arriving at the cafe or only felt the weight of his possibility, the fear was real. She decided she could not risk walking home alone. So, together with her friend, she went to the Agioi Anargyroi police station. This was supposed to be her safe place, the one location where the law would stand between her and danger. Inside, she explained everything. Her ex was following her, she believed he was nearby, and she specifically asked for a police escort home. The officers, however, told her they could not provide one, suggesting instead that she call the emergency number. For 8 minutes, Kyriaki stayed inside the station, hoping the officers might reconsider. But no help came. Finally, she stepped outside. She called the emergency number, her voice urgent, explaining again the situation. On the other end, the officer responded with words that would later haunt Greece. "Patrol cars are not taxis." And then, the nightmare she had feared came true. From the street, Thanasis Kyriakis appeared, armed with a sharp knife. Before she could run or even cry for help, he stabbed her 5 times in the back, right outside the police station. Kyriaki collapsed on the pavement, just meters from where officers were stationed. But it was too late. The system that was supposed to protect her had failed, in the most public, irreversible way. After killing Kyriaki Griva, Thanasis Kyriakis also attempted to take his own life. However, police arrived at the scene and stopped him from doing so. Ironically, the very officers who failed to protect the woman who needed help ended up saving the man who had just murdered her. After this, the police transported Thanasis Kyriakis to the hospital, and once he was discharged, he was transferred to a psychiatric ward, where he remained until his trial began. Across Greece, people were outraged when they learned that Kyriaki had been killed just outside a police station. Many blamed the police for gross negligence, saying the case revealed a deeper, systemic failure to protect victims of abuse. Women's rights groups, activists, and politicians organized protests and held candlelight vigils to mourn Kyriaki and demand justice. The phrase, "Patrol cars are not taxis," reportedly said to Kyriaki when she asked for help, became a powerful symbol of public anger and frustration. For many, her murder came to represent femicide and the everyday dangers women face in Greece. The case also sparked widespread calls for legal reforms and more gender-sensitive policing across the country. The trial opened in June 2025 at the Athens Mixed Jury Court, where prosecutors charged Thanasis Kyriakis with premeditated murder, illegal possession of a weapon, and drug possession. After weeks of testimony and evidence, the court reached its verdict on July 29, 2025. The jury found Kyriakis guilty by a unanimous decision. The panel rejected his claim of diminished responsibility and concluded he acted in a calm, deliberate state of mind. The prosecutor told the court the killing had been planned, pointing to digital evidence and witness testimony showing that Kyriakis had been stalking Kyriaki and was prepared to attack her. For his crimes he was sentenced to life imprisonment plus an additional 5 years, and ordered to pay a €1,000 fine. In the packed courtroom, Kyriaki's family wept openly, while Kyriakis showed no visible emotion. This case is a heartbreaking reminder that too many women around the world live in fear, their voices silenced, their cries for help ignored until it's too late. Kyriaki Griva's story is not just about one woman in Greece. It is about every woman who has been made to feel powerless, every survivor whose warnings were dismissed, and every life lost because society failed to listen. To all the women who are suffering in silence, your life matters, your safety matters, and your voice matters. And to the world, we must stop treating these tragedies as isolated incidents. They are warnings, each one screaming for change. Let Kyriaki's name be a call to action so that no woman, anywhere, is ever left alone in her fight for safety and dignity. If you want to watch more true crime documentaries like the case of Kyriaki Griva, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Remember, every episode will be a voice for those that the world tries to silence between you and me. Until then, I'll see you in the next episode.